What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with our video with those 10s and 20 views. Gonna be trying out a few new camera angles, settings, whatnot, rearrange my room. Right now, I have the camera above and slightly in front of me, which is still gonna make me look awkward. Yeah, I'm planning on like rearranging stuff, trying to rework where and how everything's located within the next week. So you'll see a lot of videos with it being slightly different. I might move the camera farther back. I might move the camera. I can zoom in more. Angle. I see a spot I think I would put it. But then I have to worry about hitting the computer screen. Yeah. But also, I went on a Noble Quest. I picked up more D&D stuff. I'm not going to show it to you at this point in time. Because off over there. And then I'm going bowling in a little bit, getting food and going bowling. Therefore, I'm doing a reaction. I'm doing a reaction to Mr. Santine's Zap. 2024 Royal Rumble surprise entrances. I don't know if this is who he thinks is going to come in or whatnot. Also, my camera needs to focus. But let's get to the reaction. Good. I linked to his page in the descriptions. He posted this 11 days ago. He does have a Patreon and a lot of socials. More to me. But let's get to it full screen. Make sure desktop audio is on. It is. Okay. And go.
May just be my favorite time of the year to be a professional wrestling fan. I mean, sure, WrestleMania is far and away the biggest event.
Pause. My computer has decided to, we'll go back to main screen.
Of the year.
Change the headphone setting to my not my speakers, my meteor. My some reason it thinks it can play sound through the microphone. It cannot. Yeah, I'm not liking this. I look like I'm looking too low all the time. But back to the reaction. Now that I can hear.
Year to be a professional wrestling fan. I mean, sure, WrestleMania is far and away the biggest event of the year. However, there's something special about the Royal Rumble.
Also, WrestleMania is starting to become like very, 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 very predictable.
It almost feels like wrestling Christmas. It's the event where we get to see faces that typically don't get time on premium live events, and we get awesome returns and debuts. So today we're going to be talking about potential surprise entrants in both the men's and the women's Royal Rumble. Now, I've broken these surprise Royal Rumble entrants into 4 categories.
All right, cool. This is predictions or hopes.
Return from hiatus, NXT call-up, WWE return, or WWE debut. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to like this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. All right.
Also, he seems like a cool guy, so therefore I'm letting get all his spiel, and if he has merch plug, I'll let that plug play out as well.
Let's jump into it. Let's first start off with the Women's Royal Rumble and looking at potential returns from hiatus. So these are WWE superstars that are currently under contract with the WWE that we just haven't seen for some time because of injury or other reasons. So let's start off with Liv Morgan, who a lot of people are pegging as a potential favorite to actually not just return, but win outright the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble. Now, in my
and didn't she just get arrested for pot? And the whole Matt Riddle thing also kind of makes it weird. Yeah, I'm going to have to reboot this camera.
In my opinion, I do think that she is more or less a lock to come back at this year's Royal Rumble. I know that she had some legal issues, but from what I understand, these legal issues have not prevented the WWE from booking storylines for her upon her return. And frankly, I don't think that there's a better place for Liv Morgan to come back than the place where she impressed us all so tremendously last year at the Royal Rumble. I would say...
Yeah, that makes sense. That part makes sense. I can scoot back too. Yeah, hopefully the mic can still pick me up at my normal level of speech. I move farther back. I need to move slightly over. Yeah, move farther back. Just try to be bigger on screen. I am back. I moved farther back. I got my pillow so I have something to actually lean up against. Yeah. I don't know why I'm explaining it. I can edit this all out. I'm back. I got a pillow. I got a backrest. I moved farther away. Let's get back to it.
Issues have not prevented the WWE from booking storylines for her upon her return. And frankly, I don't think that there's a better place for Liv Morgan to come back than the place where she impressed us all so tremendously last year at the Royal Rumble. I would say that Liv Morgan returning at the Royal Rumble is more or less a guarantee. It's just too perfect a venue for her to be able to make her return. Especially like when I look at women's Royal Rumbles in the past, most of them, their surprise entrants are typically legends of the past that have no chance of winning, like the Tori Wilsons of the world, the Layla, the Michelle McCools types. So it'll be nice to have a
I moved the mic too. Like I said, this is going to be a week of me trying to figure things out.
genuine surprise, a return, somebody that we haven't seen for the better part of over 6 months in the WWE, and Liv Morgan just fits that mold perfectly. Do I think that she's gonna win it? I really just don't think so. I think that there's better stories in place for somebody like a Bayley to win the.
I was about to say the same thing, Bayley, because all the weird stuff that's been going on with her, damage control, like they have a falling out. She could challenge one of her stablemate to for the title.
Royal Rumble for the first time, somebody that's been putting in so much work over the past year and a half to get damage control over with the crowd. I think that Bayley deserves her flowers at the moment, and I just don't think it's the right time for Liv Morgan. Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, Santi just unequivocally hates Liv Morgan. That is fake news and not true. I don't hate Liv Morgan. Just
I don't think he hates her. I personally don't think he even knows her.
because I don't stan her on Twitter and just make her my profile picture and do nothing but talk about her on Twitter doesn't mean that I hate her. By the way, all you weird little Liv Morgan stans, you should probably know that she doesn't care about you and she's not going to suck your dick. Next up is
I like this guy. I like him.
Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss has been gone from the WWE for very good reasons. She was pregnant and recently just gave birth to her first child. Now,
Did not know that. Congratulations, Alexa.
Now, I know a lot of people would love to see Alexa Bliss back, but I'm trying to do the math and it just doesn't add up. She gave birth in November, and coming back as quickly as late January seems a little bit far-fetched.
Not really. You figure if she had birth and then she started like at least just walking exercise to a daily point for till like the back half of December, she can make an entrance. Don't think she'll last long, but she can make an entrance.
Like, look at Becky Lynch, for example. She gave birth in a December and she didn't come back until August, 8 months after giving birth. So only 2.5, 3 months between giving birth and being in the Royal Rumble might be a bit of a stretch here. So as much as I would personally love to see Alexa Bliss come back, I just don't
He's Alexa Bliss stan. Sorry. He's probably not. It's just
think
normal.
that it's in the books. I just don't think that it makes sense. Logically, I just don't think that she would be physically ready to get in the ring after giving birth. Now,
physically, yes. Mentally and emotionally, probably not.
Now let's go to the women's NXT call-ups. I have 2 names on here that I could see potentially appearing in the women's Royal Rumble. The first one is Tiffany Stratton, who's already demonstrated head of the curve.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I have zero ideas with the NXT. I have not watched it, so I'm just going to shake my head and nod a lot during the NXT one. I got so used to it.
Based on her age and the amount of experience that she has in the ring after her fantastic feud with Becky Lynch. And when I look at the things that she's got left to do in NXT, there's not that many left. She's currently in a bit of a one-off feud with Fallon Henley, which maybe potentially leads to them maybe partnering up, but I don't see it. I think that Tiffany Stratton is ready-made for the main roster maybe as soon as the Royal Rumble. And even if this isn't like a full-time call-up, I still think that if they want to showcase people from NXT when it comes to the women's division, I just don't think that it gets better than Tiffany Stratton right now. Plus, because of her feud with Becky Lynch, this would be an NXT call-up that would most likely be recognized by the majority of the audience that's watching the Royal Rumble, both at home and in the arena. Which is
isn't like body shaming or appearance thing. That look just makes me think of Goro, the forearm guy from Mortal Kombat. The hairstyle and the way the arms are posed, like you can see another pair of arms coming right out.
It's important because you don't want them coming out to complete dead silence or people asking, who the hell is that? We don't want that. So having Tiffany Stratton out there.
I don't know. That wouldn't be like a bad idea. Just have a complete nobody pop up and like, who is that? And then the whole storyline going to WrestleMania is, who is this person and why should we care about him? You could do it right.
Or being somebody that is at least somewhat recognizable by
At least with the men. I think women would be a little harder there.
Fans of the main roster, I think is a good idea. Plus, I just think that she's ready for a spot like this, where it's not something where it's like a full-blown feud on the main roster, just like, a couple of minutes in the Women's Royal Rumble, I think would do well for her. Another women's NXT call-up that I'd like to see make an appearance at the Women's Royal Rumble would be the current NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria. Now, I have her on here for very similar reasons that I had Tiffany Stratton. She is somebody that would likely be recognized by people that only watch the main roster because she had that feud with Becky Lynch. In fact, not only did she feud with Becky Lynch, but she actually was the one that dethroned Becky Lynch to become the new NXT Women's Champion. So if she does make an appearance at the Royal Rumble, I think you can more or less guarantee that she's likely going to get eliminated by Becky Lynch. Plus, in my opinion, I think it's better to use women that are actually active in the WWE today, like NXT call-ups, like Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria, than these legends that just are not going to make an impact. And the Women's Royal Rumble historically has had to rely on a lot of these legends. And I'm hoping that...
Yeah, that's probably because the depth of talented women wrestlers aren't there yet. Double the fact that you have AEW, who has a good chunk of good women wrestler, and TNA having a good history of doing women's right with a knockout division.
This is the year that they don't have to do that because they have a very deep roster, both on the main roster and in NXT. Hey folks, hopefully you've been enjoying the video. If you want more wrestling content, consider checking me out over on Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap, where you're going to get all of my reviews for shows like SmackDown, NXT, and Monday Night Raw shortly after the show airs. And you're never going to see those on YouTube. Those are exclusive to Patreon. Patreon.com/SantiZap. You're also going to get the podcast 3 days early and the monthly mailbag. So go check it out. The link will be in the description of this video. And yeah, that's it. Back to the video. Now let's move.
I'm going to give him his flowers, let him rant to wherever he wants. I'm not sure if he's going to get mad or angry that I'm doing a reaction to him. If he does see this, hi, how's it going? First time really watching your stuff besides, I think, one other video. So far, so good.
Move on to the women that I think could make their WWE.
Also, I don't care if you copyright claim it. Just allow the video to stay up and don't strike me. That's really all I asked.
Return at the Women's Royal Rumble. The first one that we need to talk about is Trinity Fatu, formerly known in the WWE as Naomi, former WWE Women's Champion. She's been in TNA for quite a while sometime, winning their top women's championship, having fantastic matches.
The TNA has a lot better name for their women's division. It's a knockout division. Also, she did pretty much already say that, I think she did her farewell tour in TNA, like, week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Matches, developing a great character for herself. So she has really raised her stock outside of the WWE. And recently her contract is about to expire and she just...
I think it did. She did like her last match like not that long ago.
Dropped the women's championship at TNA Hard to Kill. So I think like this is just too much of a perfect story.
Also, TNA, I don't think they're the company that'd be like, no, you can't do the Rumble. You're under contract, especially since they had Mickey James pop up where there's something like, hey, I'm going to sign there. Let me go into the Rumble and be pay-per-view. I think TNA would be actually like, yeah, go for it. Go have fun.
Storm to not start to place your money on Naomi returning back to the WWE. I almost want to say that this one isn't a prediction. I think I'm spoiling it here. I think that we're going to get Naomi back in the WWE. One option I'm significantly less certain about is AJ Lee. However, this is...
There has been videos of her getting like in-ring readiness, I guess. Be like she was doing like wrestling stuff. I don't know if she does that to stay in shape and whatnot, but yeah, there has been videos of her actually wrestling.
A name that is circling all over the place as people try and connect the dots and try and figure
Also, she's married to CM Punk, so there's that.
Out whether or not AJ Lee is actually coming back to the WWE. I know people are like looking like a hawk at her Instagram whenever she makes a post about anything related to wrestling. I know that CM Punk was on the bump or some sort of, it was the year-end show where he had a bunch of AJ Lee figures in his background and people are like, oh, AJ Lee to WWE confirmed.
Or he's just very supportive of his wife.
That confirms nothing, but I understand people's desire to have AJ Lee back in the WWE. I mean, we're talking about a former women's champion that really was the spearhead for the women's revolution before the women's revolution even really got started. And
yeah, I think I said that on one of my videos too, where I'm like, people don't give AJ Lee enough credit where she And then Paige. Those two really prove that, hey, you can put stock behind women. People actually care, not just because they're hot.
We're also talking about a WWE superstar that retired from the WWE before she even entered her prime. She's only 36 years old. I think she's younger than both Charlotte and Becky Lynch. And it's understandable with CM Punk coming back to the WWE that some people are starting to connect the dots and think that perhaps AJ Lee is also debuting. I'm going to say that I don't think that this is going to happen. I think that AJ Lee is like properly done with professional wrestling. I think that she's focused on acting and her incredibly successful writing career. I don't know.
Acting? I haven't seen her do acting at all. Writing? I have no idea. I'm dyslexic. I don't really look at books, but I'm not sure about acting.
Like if I'm writing and I'm an incredibly successful writing, a New York Times bestseller multiple times over, I don't know, I just wouldn't want to put my body on the line when I don't need to. So I'm going to say that this isn't happening. However, I want to be wrong. Let's...
Before he gets to Sasha. But if she's like, I think also like Bailey, a diehard wrestling fan, I can see her just being like, yeah, let's do it.
To be honest, this is the one that people are really clamoring for, that being Mercedes Moné, the formerly known Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is arguably the most sought after free agent in professional wrestling today, where she is linked.
And no, she's not. The Okada is the most sought after free agent at the moment.
To just about every single wrestling organization, but really it's going to come down to All Elite Wrestling and the WWE. I mean, I have my opinions over where she should go, and I personally think that it should be the WWE. However, that's ultimately up to her where she wants to go get the bag. And let's not forget that Sasha Banks, at her core, is a Triple H gal. She was best booked when she was booked by Triple H in the early days of NXT Black and Gold. She left the WWE because of the poor booking of her division by Vince McMahon. So I think it's logical to see, okay, we have Mercedes Moné as a free agent. We have Triple H, who's now in charge of the WWE, the biggest wrestling company on the planet. I think that could be a match made in heaven in 2024. Look, do I think that this can happen? Absolutely. I really do. In fact, I hope it's one of those things that doesn't get spoiled. I hope it doesn't get leaked where she signed. I really hope that if she does sign with the WWE, that if she does appear at the Royal Rumble, that this is just a beautiful return and surprise that no one sees coming. In terms of full-blown debuts in the WWE, really the only one to talk about is Jade Cargill, because really at this point...
Yeah, she was getting really good in AEW. Like her in-ring stuff is getting better and better because she didn't have that much in-ring experience. She has the look, she has the size, and she can talk. It's what are they waiting for with this girl?
We're all wondering, where in the world is Jade Cargill? It's been a while since they've been hyping.
Been a while. Sorry.
Her up. They really spent a good portion of a month and a half showcasing her every single episode of Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Wherever they could, they were telling us that Jade Cargill is impending and she is coming. However, the word on Jade Cargill has been quiet over the last little while. In fact, really quiet. Perhaps it might be a situation where they're trying to maybe get us to forget about her only to give us this big shock debut and entrance at the Royal Rumble. That would be absolutely ass-kicking. In fact, if she does debut at the Royal Rumble, I firmly believe that she should come out as number one so that she can get a proper entrance as opposed to just like a run into the ring. I want to see a proper...
I wouldn't say number one. I would put someone like it's really established, like Charlotte as number one, and have Jade come in as number two, have those two kind of face off for the ring, and then let them both kind of go till the back half would do great things for Jade Cargill.
Showcase of Jade Cargill. I don't think that she should win the Royal Rumble, but I think it's time. In fact, if this is a situation where you're concerned about her work rate, maybe you don't think that she's quite ready in the ring, the Royal Rumble is the perfect place to hide those potential weaknesses because there's going to be a ton of women in there and she doesn't have to carry an entire match for 15, 20 minutes. She can just be a portion of a larger pie. So I think that it's happening, fellas. In fact, I think it has to happen. Enough is enough with Jade Cargill. You gotta showcase her now. Royal Rumble, that's the perfect time. Now let's go to the men's side of things and let's...
All right, the side that I actually know more about. Granted, I haven't really watched too much wrestling, so I couldn't really say all the stuff with the women, but let's get to the men.
Let's talk about the return from hiatuses. I think that the most logical return from hiatus would be Sheamus. Sheamus has been gone for a while.
Isn't Sheamus' contract up soon? Like, isn't that something I did see? I'm not sure. I am an idiot. I'm not running based on. But If Sheamus' contract is almost up, I think he'll be out of the WWE. I think him and Drew will just duck out of WWE because of how they've been constantly booked.
Or more or less an
I was
undisclosed
expecting
injury,
you people
not something.
Back. Yeah, I had a surprise visitor. It wasn't my mother saying she's back from getting food. I'm going bowling. I'm going to get food there. No, it was my sister with my very tiny nephew. So that was that. So of course I'm going to stop, go talk to my sister and my nephew I haven't seen since Christmas. He's tiny. He's just over a month now. So there's that. But yeah, he was. We went back to Santi. Sorry, dude, I butchered your name. You talked about Sheamus. I said I think Sheamus would do better to leave said WWE than actually return to WWE because I think his experience and size and with Drew McIntyre, who I think's also contract is expiring, would do better in places like AEW and New Japan. Allowing them to travel, but let's go.
Injury, not something that's been heavily publicized. And Sheamus is a major player in the WWE main event scene, and he could be very valuable in the road, not just to WrestleMania, but in.
Is he? Is he though? Is he? Like, when's the last time Sheamus had an actual legit title run? He's been booked as like a leader of a crew that fell apart, tag teams, not really, going after Roman or anything like that.
The road to Perth, Australia. And this would have to be a new Sheamus as well because they've made it clear that the Brawling Brutes are done. So this would be a Sheamus that might be looking for individual singles gold when he returns. But yeah, I think that if Sheamus is clear and ready to go, he's healthy, I think that this could actually be a lock, that we could see the return of Sheamus at the Royal Rumble. In fact, if he's ready to go, I'd say that this is a certainty. One I am significantly less certain about is the return of Braun Strowman.
I didn't recognize Braun Strowman. He's just a bald, angry guy right now. So
Braun Strowman had very invasive neck surgery earlier in the year, and I just don't think that you can come back from that this quickly. However, similar to a Jade Cargill situation, if you want to protect Braun Strowman from taking any sort of major bumps, then I think the Royal Rumble could be a good place to start because, again, he wouldn't be a focal point. And
small issue there, sir. Size. Braun is massive, so to him to get eliminated, it would be a lot of people. It's not like this is like AJ Styles, someone small they can just quickly toss out like it's nothing. Braun takes effort.
And he would only be, doing a couple of minutes worth of offense and bumps. In my opinion, if he needs to stay away to make a true, proper, full recovery, then keep him away. We don't need him to return at the Royal Rumble. I just want him to be safe. I want him to return healthy whenever he's ready to do so. And I just don't think that the Royal Rumble is the right moment, the right time, and I just don't think that gives him enough time to be healthy and ready. So we'll see. The other one is Big E. My goodness. I
would love it. I would love to see Big E, but that neck injury is something not to fudge with. I won't curse because I'm not sure if this man curses. So, yeah, I would definitely say he needs a little more time to guarantee that neck isn't going to be one slightly questionable bump away from just not being able to do anything.
I just want Big E to return in some way, shape, or form. There's no rumors or anything saying that he's going to return at the Royal Rumble. However, for me, this is just like a personal hope because we're coming up now on 2 years of him being absent from WWE television from his horrible injury.
It's been 2 years already? Holy crap. I thought it was only a year ago.
So if he's capable of returning, it would just be so lovely to see him return at the Royal Rumble. I know WWE fans are still just kind of on the edge of their seat, wondering what will be of Big E's career. So I think this is more so just hoping for good news. And I think having his music hit at the Royal Rumble would make us all collectively lose our shit and just be happy and breathe a big sigh of relief that his career isn't over. Do I think that he's going to come back at the Royal Rumble? I don't think there's anything indicating that he is. So I'm going to say no. I reiterate, it's just something I hope to see rather than something I expect to see. Another name that people are throwing out there is Uncle Howdy, but just
No. I have less issue with doing a Bo Wyatt thing instead of an Uncle Howdy thing. Like, have Bo come back, yes, but I would kind of steer away from the Bray Wyatt stick too much. Like, Bo coming back more as the more cult redneck southern guy with the shirt, that would be better. Like, taking over that way versus trying to be Bray.
Doesn't make sense in terms of the type of character that he is. To me, the only way that it would make sense for him to enter a Royal Rumble match is if he comes in as Bo Dallas, not as Uncle Howdy. Because if the plan is to continue Uncle Howdy in some way, shape, or form, I think that the Royal Rumble just doesn't provide the right ambiance and the right stage for this sort of return. However, if the plan is to have him return as Bo Dallas, then he would get a huge ovation from the crowd in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I know it's just one of those capitalizing off a terrible situation, but look at Mark Briscoe. Like, everyone loved his brother, and they loved him, and he came back, and he's been kind of like doing the best he can with it. Bo would probably do something similar, and especially I think if they were to give him like some tie to the Bray Wyatt character, but still as Bo, not as like Uncle Howdy.
Now, because the WWE never officially unmasked Uncle Howdy to reveal that he was Bo Dallas, then maybe this won't be a logical move for the WWE to quickly transition from Uncle Howdy to Bo Dallas because there was no lead up to that. However, I mean, the fans that know, and the fans that know will obviously be appreciative of seeing Bo Dallas in the Royal Rumble. However, I don't see Bo Dallas, and especially don't see Uncle Howdy making an appearance at the Royal Rumble. In terms of NXT,
yeah, like I said, the Bo Dallas thing, like if you wanted to kind of have him as this, like repackage him as something Wyatt, like Bo Wyatt, like saying, like you can see, like, oh, my brother, he can call something out, like, oh, my brother, we took a slightly different path, but due to the unfortunate, I'm going to follow the buzzards like he always wanted me to. Something similar to that.
Call-ups, I'm only going to keep it to one because the men's side of the Rumble has...
Oh, it's Steiner. And please going back to Steiner last name. You know, Braun Breaker, it sounds like a bad video game villain.
Enough names, enough faces, enough bodies to actually fill out a Royal Rumble match without the need of like a ton of legends returning. So I'm only going to save one spot for an NXT call-up, that being Braun Breaker. God damn it, this guy is ready for the main roster. He has nothing left to do in NXT. He's just doing side quests in NXT right now, teaming up with Baron Corbin. We know that's not going to be anything long-term. This guy has done it all already in NXT, multi-time NXT champion, main evented just about every single NXT show, and he is ready, both from a character point of view, which I'm happy they kept him down there a little bit longer in order to hone that in, but when it comes from like a physical side of things, his moveset, he's been ready for a while.
Yeah, like I said, I don't watch NXT, but I've been seeing this guy, and like one thing is, he's Rick Steiner's son. Just give him back the Steiner last name. Now that Vince is gone, we know Vince didn't like the Steiners. I don't think Triple H likes Scott, but there is something to having a wrestling family name, and this would be the perfect time, especially if they hit his music and it says Braun Steiner. I think it'd be a massive pop.
And I think that him coming in, spearing 5-6 people at the Royal Rumble would be an awesome introduction to the main roster. All right, now let's go to individuals that might potentially make a WWE in-ring return. Okay, I know a lot of you guys somehow all of a sudden started hating The Rock, but it's a possibility The Rock could return at the Royal Rumble. If the plan is to set up Roman Reigns versus The Rock, this is one of the potential ways that they could set it up as.
Yeah, and also with The Rock, if he comes back, he doesn't need to win it. If he just has a good showing, get him back equipped to being in the ring, somehow pull his weight as, you know, taking over as part owners on the board of TKO, whatever the hell that company is called, then be like, hey, I'm using my weight to get myself a title match type thing.
And with rumors circulating that Roman Reigns is not participating at Elimination Chamber, that only leaves WrestleMania or shows after WrestleMania for when we can get The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And if we're going to get The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, One of the ways that we get The Rock to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is the Royal Rumble. I don't love this. I don't want this to happen. I'm just telling you, be ready for this possibility because the chances are not zero. A super welcome return would be the return of Andrade El Idolo from AEW back to the WWE.
Yeah, I think he thought he was going to have like the instant like superstar status, but then when they realized that his pop wasn't there, AEW was trying to slow build him to a main event star, and he wasn't liking that, so he's just like, I want out, and AEW's like, fine, your contract's up, you can go back. We don't care.
To me, it is a certainty that Andrade is coming back to the WWE. I mean, just look at a couple of contextual clues. Similar to Sasha Banks, Andrade was best booked under Triple H, and now Triple H is in the helm of the WWE. And on top of that, his other half, Charlotte, is a mainstay of the WWE. So,
not a major thing, and by that math, Buddy Matthews should go back there. Just saying.
I'm sure they would love to be able to spend more time together and travel together as part of the WWE main roster. Plus, Andrade is awesome. I love Andrade El Idolo, Andrade Cien Almas, whatever it is that you want to call him. He is fantastic, and he did not get enough time to showcase how good he is on the main roster under Vince McMahon. He is a recognizable name. He spent time in NXT, in the main roster, AEW. The crowd would certainly know who he is, and they would probably give him a beautiful ovation if he does come back at this year's Royal Rumble. Now,
I think he'll have a similar problem with what I just said with WWE. He probably thinks that he should be a main eventer, and he'll come back not as a main eventer.
Because he didn't come back during New Year's Revolution or WWE Day 1, I think that there's a strong chance that he comes back at the Royal Rumble. Because I look at what's left between now and WrestleMania, there's only two places that are suitable for somebody like Andrade to come back at. I would think that it would be the Royal Rumble or the Raw after WrestleMania. Aside from that, I just don't see any places where he could come back where it would make sense for him to return. So I'm picking the early one. I'm taking him to appear at this year's Royal Rumble.
Also, with him, he can have a match on the Rumble with like Logan Paul.
Other one is Matt Cardona, kind of for very similar reasons to Andrade. Matt Cardona, the formerly known as Zack Ryder, was incredibly popular in the WWE. In fact, he was an individual that people collectively wanted to see succeed in the WWE, but never got the opportunity to do so. He decided to gamble on himself after being fired from the WWE,
because he got himself over. That's the truth. Zack Ryder did the whole Internet Champ, which I think is the belt he's holding in his hand at the moment. And it was like, just started doing like YouTube sketches to get himself over. And he did not like that. So there's that. Matt Cardona, he already said, I'm coming back as Matt Cardona. And yeah, I think you could have him start going this whole belt collector route in WWE. I would love to see Cardona back in WWE.
He has made a tremendous name for himself in the independent circuit as the indie god, the indie taker, the deathmatch king, Matt Cardona. You know who else did that? Chelsea Green took that very similar path. She also made a name for herself in the independent circuit and eventually got brought back to the WWE, where she's now a mainstay. And I think that she's going to be a main event player very soon. And I think a great person to pair her with would be her awesome husband, who could play a very similar character to Chelsea Green, pair them up in the WWE, and have him return at the Royal Rumble. The people would go apeshit for him. Now, do I think that this is going to happen? Weirdly enough, I do. Partly because he wasn't at TNT.
I'm still going no, because I think he's having a lot of fun. I think next year's Rumble would be a big thing. He has said he wants to end his career in a big stadium, not the indie scene. But yeah, I could see him next year, not as much as this year.
TNA Hard to Kill, which tells me that maybe he's trying to conserve his body for a WWE return. So fingers crossed. I think this could happen. Another option here is Stone Cold Steve Austin, because a lot of people think that it's a possibility that we might get Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk at this year's WrestleMania.
A match I do not want. I don't see it being good. Sorry. Like, what's the point? Austin Rock, though. One Last Dance. That would be a way to kick off the WrestleMania.
Don't think that's going to happen because the people are just too mouth-watered about the potential of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins that it would just be wrong to delay that for Stone Cold versus CM Punk. Plus, Stone Cold at the Rumble? No, I don't think so. I feel like Stone Cold doesn't need to be in a Rumble. I think like Stone Cold, if he's coming back, it's for one time at WrestleMania. That's it. So I'm going to say that this isn't happening, but I do think that it's possible that we get Stone Cold somewhere within the next coming months. You know what's a weird internet rumor going around? The fact that Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac.
Hey, I had him as my number 2 wrestler. If he was wrestling now in his prime, he would be more over. Number 1 was Tyler Breeze, which I don't think Tyler Breeze is coming back. He already posted a bunch of like potential dates.
Might return to the WWE at the Royal Rumble. So I'll toss it on here, even though this would most likely be a very inconsequential return. It'd be a cool nostalgia pop, but that's about it. I do not expect him to work anything beyond just a one-off appearance at the Rumble if he does make that Rumble return. Again, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, it'd be a cool nostalgia pop, but that's about it. I don't really see how it goes anything beyond just a nostalgia pop. But hey, the Royal Rumble is a perfect place for nostalgia pop, so sure, why not give us the X-Pac nostalgia pop? I'll pop, sure. Did you forget about this guy? I hope you didn't forget about this guy. It's Brock frickin' Lesnar. Now, in no world should Brock Lesnar be winning a Royal Rumble, but I do believe that the Royal Rumble is a perfect place to set up a Brock Lesnar feud versus whoever we're going to have in the feud.
Sorry, I got a text message. Yeah, this definitely came out before the whole recent news stuff. Yeah.
Against at WrestleMania, if that is the plan. And if I have my way, I think this is the start of Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. I don't know. Now, it's been a while since we've seen Brock Lesnar, but we know that Brock Lesnar likes to come back for these appearances where he doesn't have to work a heck of a whole lot, and the Royal Rumble is a place where he doesn't have to work a heck of a whole lot to make probably a good chunk of change. So I'm going to say that this is
Yeah, this is definitely recorded before all the new allegations came out.
Is most likely going to happen. I do believe that we're going to hear Brock Lesnar's music at some point or another at the Royal Rumble. I don't think that he's going to be winning, but I think that having somebody of the caliber of Brock Lesnar could help elevate whoever wins this year's Royal Rumble. The next one is the Velveteen Dream. There's no...
See, this is the one thing my phone died when my mom was at dinner earlier. And this is like one of the things I don't get about wrestling at all. Everyone wants him back. Marty Scurll still can't get a thing, and he's been proven innocent. Like, no charges were ever filed against him and all that stuff. Velveteen Dream has similar accusations, and I think more than one. And they're like, oh, let's bring him back.
No way, right? There's no...
Granted, I don't know Velveteen Dream's whole situation, so I don't know if he got charged with anything.
Oh, way. For those that don't know, the Velveteen Dream has tried to make a comeback to the world of professional wrestling. He posted an apology on Instagram about all the awful things that he did, how he misused his opportunity in the WWE. Granted, he was booked tremendously well under Triple H. I'm sure he'd love to come back to work under Triple H, but there's no way. There's no way that the WWE allows this to happen. He's just too much of a image liability to have come back. Now, mind you, this is coming from somebody that the Velveteen Dream was their favorite character in NXT. So it does hurt me to see everything that's happened with him. Because look, the Velveteen Dream, for me, was like a really important character because it was the character that actually got my girlfriend a little bit into professional wrestling. So seeing this significant fall from grace kind of hurts. But I'm also conscious enough that there's no way in this world that they can allow him to come back to the WWE. Now let's talk.
Yeah, his one is actually worse than that because he has multiple things like compared to like Marty. So yeah, there's no way he's coming back.
Talk about potential
without like super rehabilitation.
WWE debuts. MJF is coming to the WWE and debuting at the Royal Rumble is something I would never say. It's not happening. How are people falling for this? There is no way in this God's green earth that MJF is debuting at the WWE Royal Rumble this year. He has almost certainly re-signed with AEW. Oh, but Santi, they have removed him from the official AEW roster website. You got played. You got played. Anyone can make that happen. I just have to hit delete a couple of times on a keyboard and his name is gone. Look, there is a story already in place for him in AEW. It's a main event caliber.
Yeah, him versus Adam Cole. This Adam Cole being hurt almost helps Marty. Not Marty. MJS, Max. It helps Max because it gives Max time to heal. With both of them slowly getting healthy at the same time, it would be better. And then it's just a slow build because then when Cole finally gets healthy, wins any title, then he thinks everything's great enough, and then that MJF music hits, it'll be a massive pop.
Story with the Undisputed Kingdom and Adam Cole. They're still saying his name on live television, for God's sake. Look, I'm not saying that you have to be one of these marks that follows everything, but at the very least, don't fall for this crap. Of course, he's still signed to AEW. It's not happening. One that could happen is
the Rainmaker, Okada. Especially if you do a storyline where Shinsuke is kind of like tormenting Cody, and they bring in his former faction mate, Okada. Whew.
Kazuchika Okada. If you don't know who Okada is, he's like the guy from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
He's John Cena from Japan. He's better than John Cena. He has a lot of good moves. I'm not sure how many he can really use in WWE, but his English is actually really good. And like I said, auto tag team with him and Nakamura, and just trying to they can almost do like a reverse Bullet Club type mentality of, we're Japanese superstars, we're going to do it the Japanese New Japan way, which was Bullet Club's whole mentality was, we're fans of WWE, ECW, we're going to wrestle that style.
Now, some people might wonder whether or not Okada has the star power to debut immediately at a place like the Royal Rumble, and I think that's a fair concern. All I'll say is that AJ Styles also came from New Japan and debuted at the Royal Rumble.
Sorry, sir, but AJ Styles was a giant star in TNA, which is in America. So, yeah. And he was their star when they were on Spike Television. So, yeah, that's a little different. Does he have the star power with modern day wrestling? Yes.
However, unlike Okada, AJ Styles had that history in North American wrestling with TNA, Impact, Ring of Honor, etc. Meanwhile, Okada has been predominantly featured in New Japan, even though he has made appearances here or there for North American companies like AEW. However,
he did main event Madison Square Garden.
However, the WWE has been treating their Japanese stars overly well over the last little while. Even their comedic acts like Tozawa are being treated really, really well. But then we have the likes of Nakamura, Io Sky, Asuka just being perennial main eventers. And to me, this could be the WWE trying to...
That would be such a great storyline. Bringing in Okada, the biggest name, one of the biggest stars that Japan has ever produced besides Takahashi and Jushin Thunder Liger. He comes in and then just instantly rallies all the Japanese wrestlers behind him to a new faction. Especially then they have him going after things like the Bloodline and all the other things. Just Bloodline, the Judgment Day, just being led by Okada and Nakamura, with Asuka and Io Sky. I think that would be a terrifying faction. In a good way. Terrifying in a good way.
To roll out the red carpet for Okada, showing, hey, see, we can make stars out of Japanese stars. Come on, come join the WWE. I think it's a possibility. Do I think he's got the star power to debut at the Royal Rumble? Somebody like me that follows wrestling probably a little too much? I would say yes, but I am conscious of the fact that the average Joe is not going to know who he is. But Trust me, he'll introduce himself real friggin' quick.
Also, the Royal Rumble is not like if it was like Extreme Rules or one of the other smaller pay-per-views, yeah, it wouldn't work out. But you're going from the Royal Rumble, which is one of the best pay-per-views in all of professional wrestling, to then go into Australia, where New Japan has a massive connection to. So you can easily pull a lot of Japanese fans straight to WWE by having Okada in Australia.
Do I think this is going to happen? Look, I'd be dumb to say that it's going to. I think the safe bet is to say no. But if you're looking for a logical debut that makes sense in terms of contracts, Okada's the guy. All right, folks, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments what other Royal Rumble returns you'd like to see this year for the men's and the women's Royal Rumble, or NXT call-ups. I'm also curious about that as well. But that's it. I'm done. Get out of here. The Royal...
Pause. There we go. Yeah, great video. A little windy at times for my liking, but then again, this is why you have more subscribers to me and a Patreon that is actually active. But yeah, who I would like to see. I hate the fact that they announced so many people in the Rumble. I wish only like 4 or 5 got announced and everybody else was just a massive surprise. Like I said, the Okada one. It's one of those things of he has the star power presence to just be, hey, I am goddamn Okada. I am the Rainmaker. Especially if they hit like his confetti. It's like, who's coming down? And just the Rainmaker confetti with the dollar bills flying everywhere. Like, you could sell Okada bucks easily in the WWE. And he's, like I said, he's a big enough name that he will, even if it's like someone's like, who is this guy? Why did he do so good in the Rumble? And then on Raw or something, he comes out and wrestles a top heel guy, a top tier guy like Cody, and then turns around and beats Cody, unless Cody wins the Rumble. That's the difference. But he comes out and then beats a high level star, and everyone sees how good he is. Especially if, like I said, you try this Damage Control kind of break up because Bailey won. Io Sky, Asuka join Okada and Nakamura in this faction, and then you bring in Tozawa to rebuild his image. That would be a fun group that could rival the Judgment Day and the Bloodline. But that's it. That's all I got. I will be watching the Rumble. Not paying for the Rumble, but I will be watching the Rumble. So until then, or until the next video, I'll see you weird people later.